Hey everybody, good evening. It's Liz. So happy to see you all this evening for weekly live. And as you may have seen in the topics that we're talking about yoga and the holidays and some great tools we can use throughout this time. If you've seen some of the past weeks that we've done some breathing practices. Last week we did a meditation, and I'd like to go back to, not go back to, but introduce a few more breathing practices that I think might be useful for you during this time. You know, the holidays can be wonderful and joyous, and it can be maybe stressful, and it can be sad for folks too. So whatever you're feeling during the holidays, it's good to have some tools to use to bring yourself into equilibrium, as you can say. So yeah, I want to introduce a few breathing practices. And uh, if you didn't hear last week's presentation, go back. You can find it on YouTube or in the Facebook group. Join our Liz Naturally Facebook group. All the lives are there also. We want to, last week was a meditation for the holidays, just to bring ourselves back to center, back to ourselves. So go ahead and listen to that. And also, I would love your comments. If there are certain topics you want me to cover in these weekly live, I love all the suggestions that you throw out. So I've had some great response from folks about the breathing practices, and that's why I thought we'll go back and do some more breathing practices that may help through the holidays. So the first one actually is a breathing practice, and using the fingers. Actually, it's a mantra and a mudra with the fingers at the same time. So let's get started with that. Basically, you touch the tip of the thumb to the tip of the finger, and you'll touch each one, and you're really going to press with that tip of the thumb, tip of the finger together. Now you can do this in front of people. You know, they won't see you. You can go ahead and put your hands behind your back or along your side as you do this, and you can say this to yourself. It doesn't have to be said out loud. It can be whispered or said in the head, or inside the head. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to repeat the mantra, and basically it's Sata Nama, which is the circle of life. And when you say it out loud or whisper it, it actually brings the tongue to the palate, which is can be very soothing and relaxing also. So basically, we'll start off sa, ta, na, ma, sa, ta, na, ma. Let's whisper sa, ta, na, ma, sa, ta, ma. And then to yourself. And now whisper sa, ta, na, ma, sa, ta, na, ma, sa, ta, na, ma, sa, ta, na. And now out loud. Sa, ta, na, ma. 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 Good. And come back to a normal breath, just breathing in and breathing out. Another breathing practice, pranayama practice I want to introduce today is the inhaling and exhaling, but with conscious doubling the exhale, then the inhale. So let's try that. What we'll do is breathe in for 2, 1, 2, and exhale for 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 1, 2, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. You can repeat that 2 and 4. I'm going to go on to a 4 and 8 count. Now, having a longer exhale tends to relax the body, doubling the exhale from the inhale. So you can stay with the 2 and 4, or if you want to do the 4 and 8 with me now, we'll go ahead and practice that. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is all in and out the nose. So let's try it again. Inhale 1, 2, 3. You want to really get a deep breath. 4, exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And you can use any combination as long as you are doubling the exhale from the inhale. So depending on how deep a breath you can hold, we don't want it to be uncomfortable, but we want to have that nice, slow exhale after the inhale. All right. So remember, the reason I introduce different pranayama practices, because working with my clients, I found that certain breathing practices work for some and others don't work, So that's why there's many different pranayama practices for relaxation, for stress, and or sadness, things to bring you back to center. And the reason there are so many pranayama practices is that we're all different, right? Some things work better for others. Someone can swear by one kind that works for them. And yeah, so it just, depends where you're at. Let's go ahead and try another breath. And I think I've introduced this in previous classes, but it seems to work for quite a few folks. This is the 4 square breath, and it's actually taught, I understand, to Navy SEALs, especially if you're underwater and you're in a stressful situation. You don't want to use up your oxygen tank quickly. And this tends to regulate the breath, regulate yourself. If you're under stress and you start breathing heavily, it gets you kind of in that equilibrium. So let's try that. Imagine there's a square in front of you, and you inhale 1 up to 4 on the square, then you hold the breath, and then you exhale the breath for 4, and then you hold the breath out, with no breath for 4. And it's all equal. That's why we call it 4 square. It's equal sides. So let's go ahead. So let's inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold the breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's keep going. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. And then breathe normally. Now, most pranayama practices are in and out the nose unless instructed differently. There are some breath work where you inhale through the nose and then exhale out the mouth in some cases. But the research has found actually breathing in and out the nose has a lot of brain activity benefits, and that's why I think you've seen these pranayama. Many of the pranayama practices are in and out the nose for the most part, but there are some that you actually breathe in and out the mouth. One, and we've talked about this one before, but I think it's so important to really pass on to folks, because there's been so much research done on it actually at the University of Virginia. One of my teachers is actually a professor there, and in the studies of yoga and the brain and neuroscience. And they've done a lot of research on what they call the equilibrium breath. And I'd like to introduce this one again to you. It does have an inhale through the nose and an exhale out the mouth, actually. And they're finding, great benefits for using this breath if you're extremely in the stress zone or extremely in the low, maybe depression zone, bringing the body back to center. And that's why I love to teach this breath. I learned it from her this summer, and I love to share this breath practice. So basically what you do is, and you can actually put your hands on your rib cage to get, if you want to feel like you're getting a really deep breath. So basically you're breathing in for 50%, and then you take another inhale and really fill the lungs to 100%. And then after that, you bring the chin to the chest and you hold the breath. This locks in the air here. You hold the breath till it starts, you don't want to be in an uncomfortable situation, but hold the breath as long as you can. Then you bring the chin up and you let the breath out the mouth. And as you let the breath out the mouth, the belly button comes in and up, kind of up towards the rib cage, really bringing all the air out of the lungs. So let's try that. We'll do 3 rounds. And remember, you go at your own pace. I'll walk you through the first one. And then, but like I said, everybody's different, how long they hold the breath, how long it takes to fill up their lungs. So take an inhale through the nose, 50%, then another sip of air to 100%, and then bring the chin down to the chest and hold the breath, like I said. And when you're ready to let the breath go, you bring the chin up and you let the breath out the mouth. And as you do that, bring that belly button in and up. Good. Let's try that again. Inhale 50%. Inhale to 100%. Chin to the chest. And hold. And like I said, hold till you feel you're ready to let the air out. And then when you're ready to let the air out, you bring the chin up and you let the air out the mouth and belly button in and up. Good. Go at your own pace. Inhale for 50%, 100%, and then you know what to do the rest. Bringing the chin to the chest and stay there as long as you want. And whenever you're ready, bring that belly button in and then the chin down to the chest. Beautiful, everybody. Good job. All right. And then come back to the normal breathing. Notice how the body feels. Notice how the mind feels, the emotions feel. It can be a great equilibrium breath if you're feeling a very strong emotion. That's another great use of the equilibrium breath. So good. All right. Next breath practice is basically we're checking on the breath. So if you're seated, it's easier to feel as you're seated, but this is the breath to find out if you're breathing normally or if you're backwards breathing. And we want to be able to feel that breath all the way down to the pelvic floor. So as that diaphragm drops below the lungs, the pelvic floor drops, right, to make more room, because your diaphragm's pressing down the internal organs. The internal organs need a place to go. Your belly kind of pooches out, but also you need to make that space in the pelvic floor. So that pelvic floor is the place between your two sit bones, your front pubic bone, and your tailbone. It's for men and women. Those are the same attachments. So wherever you're at for that. So one thing I want you to do is go ahead and put a hand on your belly. And then you can put a hand on your lower belly, like above your belly button and below your belly button. That's usually an indicator, so you can find out if you are breathing as your anatomy is set up to do, or if you're backwards breathing. And I don't even want to explain the backwards breathing, because I don't want you to think about it. But so let's take a deep inhale. Feel the belly push out a little bit, but I also want you to feel the pelvic floor press against the chair if you're seated. Now, if you don't feel anything, I suggest maybe taking a rolled up washcloth or a cushy ball or something to sit on between your legs, like where your underwear is, to give some feedback if you don't get feedback from being seated on a chair or something solid. Let's take an inhale again. Feel the belly pooch out, feel the pelvic floor press against the surface you're sitting on. And then exhale, feel the pelvic floor release up, the belly come in, the diaphragm lift. Good. Inhale, diaphragm drops, the pelvic floor drops. Inhale. And exhale, pelvic floor lifts, diaphragm lifts. Good. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale. Feel the belly, feel the diaphragm drop, feel the pelvic floor drop. Good. Good. And then breathe normal. Now, if you don't feel that diaphragm dropping and the pelvic floor dropping to the surface, I would really pay attention to your breath. We really want to fill the lungs all the way from the top to the bottom and be able to feel that breath all the way to that musculature of the pelvic floor, because we're making space for that breath. And we're also, that keeps the musculature of the pelvic floor very, the blood flowing. It keeps the muscles toned. We want those muscles to work like they're supposed to as the belly drops and the diaphragm drops. So we want that diaphragm, the pelvic floor, moving down on the in-breath, making space, and then rising on the exhale. So that's very important for pelvic floor health. That's the first thing I teach with any of my clients, is that breath, feeling the pelvic floor move with the diaphragm, because once you get that practice going, it really, works great. So, all righty. So it's so good to see everyone. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to check the chat real quick here. All right. And I had one question coming in about the pelvic floor, that they don't feel anything in their pelvic floor. So like I said, I would go ahead, take a washcloth, roll it up, and place it long ways where your underwear is and sit on it on a solid surface of a chair specifically. Make sure the chair is low enough that your feet are actually on the floor, because it's important to have your feet rooted into that floor. So yes, getting feedback sometimes, especially if you haven't thought about your pelvic floor, you are disconnected from your pelvic floor. Having that feedback from a washcloth, even like a cushy ball sitting on just something soft that your pelvic floor can actually press into where your underwear is between your legs. So yeah, good question. All right. Well, it's wonderful seeing everybody. I will be here back next week, still yoga for the holidays. I'm going to actually do some asanas, some movement practices. We've been doing breathing and meditation, but we'll do I'll demonstrate a few asanas that you can see and go ahead. So, all right. Well, it's wonderful seeing everybody tonight, and we'll see you next week. And if you're on the mailing list, make sure you sign up. It's in the Facebook, it's on the website. If you want to get in on, make sure you get reminders for this weekly Zoom. All right, take care, everybody, and we'll see you next week, 7 p.m. on Tuesdays, Eastern Standard Time. All right, take care. And I'd love some comments. If you want me to cover a certain topic, be sure to put it in the comments of the video or on YouTube, or send me a email at liz@liznaturally.com. All right. See you, everybody. Bye-bye.